you got yourself punked.
Alright, welcome back to today's stream, and we will be going over major city placements and a little bit more updates onto the geopolitical regions of these areas. You might even see maybe a little bit of wars happen, or like more readjustments, more like. But let's go ahead and get started, as now we are going to be updating every single major city. Oh, pray for me, please. So now we will see. Actually, we will probably go ahead and take a look at the northern Chinese, as previous areas would have looked more like these areas up here. We will see multiple regions of previous ownership of the northern Chinese areas will quickly fall over or from the Great War with the Greeks. These regions will quickly fall over to the Koreans. And yeah, it doesn't really go too well for the northern Chinese for the Great War. Let me go ahead and just pull up the previous version of the map. Yeah, this is all the previous versions. This is before the peace treaty, stuff like that, and yeah. Yeah, this is before and after. Before and after. Let me zoom out a little. Yeah, that is a major difference from all the way from down here to right up here, which that much, even a little bit over here. That is like a major difference for one of the largest countries, but not the most amount of land lost, as that went over to the Greeks. As if we go over here, yeah, this is the loss. You can actually still see a little bit of modern, of like where Greeks could have resided. Like, for example, the Egyptians right here, the Iraqis, and I want to say the Armenians or the Kurdish right here. And even this new Albanian country, and that's mostly it of all the countries that you could see the Greeks quickly annex or stuff like that. They could even go into Crimea and into the Caucasus countries right here, which they would still not be strong enough to fight against the Iranians, stuff like that. But we will go ahead and continue to update the major city layer. And as you can see, this is already a bunch of more population rather than just random plotting of cities. Now, if we go ahead and go into Korea right here, you can kind of see it's a lot less sparsely spread out. It's more consolidated into the northern region right here, even a little bit into the southern or central eastern region, even into modern day Seoul, which will quickly become actually probably like one or two there, two right here, and then probably several spread out right here. Which will go ahead and do that, and that's already a bunch of population. And if we go ahead and there's probably going to be like one right there, and several onto these Japanese islands right here. Probably even one on this island or right here. One on there. And there's going to be several onto these little bits of these islands right here. Which luckily, since I'm doing all this, I can go over small map changes. Again, luckily for me. Again, look right here. See it? No, you don't. Yeah, it's gonna be a long stream. As we will even see, this is now the Korean population, as it is already extremely dense. And we will see the Korean population over here even consolidate a little bit here and there. They'll even go into the Tokyo Center, which is actually spread out through like three or four major cities. Three major cities. Even in this little bay right here is going to be spread through three major cities there. Right here it's going to be spread through multiple major cities. And yeah, which leaves the entire central area or the northern area of this giant island, which is kind of less populated compared to the central and southern islands. As this southern part right here isn't that agricultural prepared, and there's actually going to be less cities because of it, though it mostly on the coast, probably like one or two in the inland, which right here, inward. And this is when we will see even more population go a little bit north, which will be not as much, as this island is extremely mountainous, stuff like that. Excuse me. As we'll even see a few major cities pop up on these tiny islands. Probably like one right there. Three right here, maybe? Yeah, three. One right there. One right here. As like major stops for them. Even one on this side of the Sea of Korea. Northern Sea of Korea, Central Sea of Korea, and the Gulf of Korea. Yeah, they're not that good with making names. Yeah. As we'll even see them continue to grow their population a little bit inward, which will continue to not look that great for them, though it is still working perfectly fine for them. As we'll even see a bunch of population along this coast, even for the green team, appear, but though it is mostly inhabited by the Koreans. As like all these major cities, even the one right here, will continue to be inhabited by the Korean team. For example, as this much population is of this much population down right here. This much population is compared to this much population here for the Koreans. But the green team will not be as lucky, as they don't have much ocean borders or sea borders in general, as this is like the only sea access they have. And that's like their major trade area, though it is not that successful for them. Though we will continue to see more spread out, sparsely populated areas of these regions, which will continue to look like this. I need to adjust something with this stream real quick. What? Oh, y'all are seeing it. No. Sorry. Okay, back onto the stream. As this is what they look like now. It's probably going to be a little bit harder to see these populations, though you can still kind of see it. As we will continue to see even more population centers appear all the way over here, even against the Tibetan region, which some of these regions are controlled by cities, or vice versa for rivers, mountains, hills, stuff like that. Which will continue to look like this, and boom, this is the Chinese population. They lost all their population all the way up here, which kind of looked like this. Yeah, they lost all this population right here, and they're going to be losing even more population to the southern Chinese, which kind of looked like that. This much land. Yeah, it didn't work out well for the northern Chinese for their operations. They should have kept going in southern China, which, yeah. As now this is what the major cities look like in northern China, as they made a artificial river going from here to here all the way into their previous controlled lands and all the way up right here, which they kind of based it off of the Yellow River Delta right here going. So it's from the Yellow River Delta, and they made other canals going from one part of the from one part to all the way over here to through their previous controlled areas, which kind of look like this, like so. As they even built an artificial river going through here. Yeah, all these previous lands, most of these rivers are still controlled by northern China, though the entrance is controlled by the Koreans, which they could easily block off access to it, which would immensely harm their population and their economy status. As I don't know when this video is released, they're in, I believe they're out of the top 10 now due to like multiple issues with the inside area. As if you look at, one second, if you look at the nation, most of the population is more on this side, and they're more ethnically Chinese, and the rest of it is more, this part right here is Korean, this part is the Green Nation, this part all the way over here is this Kazakhstan nation thing, and the rest of it is between southern China, for example, this one major city, and these rest of the areas are more ethnically Tibetan, which makes things extremely difficult for the things they want to do with them, though they can still hold their population over him. As now we will see immense population growth in southern China, which they are now considered real China. Yeah. As now their population is almost about the same as the northern Chinese this far, as previously they were way further below of the northern Chinese, as the northern Chinese ranked higher than them, but due to the Koreans' help and their massive amount of land, and the French help against the northern Chinese, it quickly allowed them to gain this much land, and vice versa, stuff like that. And we will continue to see more land gains and or more city growth in these regions, though it is more sparsely populated due to the more coldness of these regions, stuff like that. As now we will see stuff like this, and boom, boom, it is less populated, especially this island right here, though it is still an important region to the Koreans. So we will see a few more population centers appear in the Siberian region of the Korean team, though not helpful to the Koreans. Does give them a huge population boost though. Gotta get rid of these doubles. One here, one here, one here. Boom, 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 boom. Now you can kind of see where most of the population is in Korea, as these lands highlighted. You know what? Sure. as these lands in Korea, white highlighted lands right here, are more ethnically Korean, and which explains why their population is so much higher. Though the Japanese is probably, some of these are probably smaller and they're more major settlements rather than major cities or cities in general. All the way up here, like these regions highlight circled around the white is major settlements. Now the other regions of the Koreans right here are major cities or cities in general, which now we will continue to see the major city placement in the southern Chinese, which will continue to grow. Now we will see them more spread out all the way over here, though they are right against the Tibetan mountains, the Himalayas, which if we go ahead and remove a few of these to show more sparse population, there. As this is mostly just sparse population on the west, as again, if we look at the fascism layer or ideology layer, the Chinese right here, they are fascist. So most of these other regions are for slaves. The east region is slavery. The west region is for slaves. The agriculture areas, and most of the other regions are like, there's some agricultural regions like this entire part and a little bit all the way down here. Turn off the ideology layer. Most of the highlighted regions right here are for slavery, and the rest of it is for the huge amount of money to go through, as the other regions are more political stability regions, which will continue to grow as we will see them. Let me just destroy these white lines as I'm doing it a live stream with y'all. Magic wand. Boom. Magic. Hey, where is it? Magic wand. Boom. So now we will continue to see the more populous regions of other countries continue to grow, as now we've completed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries now, and now we will move on to the Ural region up here. Again, very far north, not much population in these regions, as it is extremely hard to live up here. Though we will have several regions of these areas continue to grow, most of these regions will continue to not thrive, and more mediocre regions, as now we basically have most of the northern we will mostly have all the highlighted regions, the white line. And these countries that go through the white line are completely done with their population centers and will not be seeing any growth for a while, as I plan for this series to go up to 20 until the next updated population, unless again more major things happen to this series or what I plan. Now we will see the population of the Vietnamese team. It is heavily rainforested, very jungle area, so we will not mostly these. Let me just go out to the regions. Mostly all of these regions right here are heavily rainforested, which will not have much population. But we will continue to see more populations up here though, mostly along the coast, or not along the coast, but still there. So we will see several regions of this island get a bit more population. Other than that, we will not see any other Vietnamese regions other than the ones I'm placing down have more population. Um, probably a little bit more into Vietnamese areas right here. Right here, 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 here. As these are the mainland areas of Vietnam, um, stuff like that. Yeah. Now we will move on to the other territories of Vietnam, which also this island of Korea will surprisingly have a major settlement, especially for how far it is. But we will see not this island, but this island right here get a major settlement from Vietnam. And we will continue to see other major settlements continue to grow into major cities or cities and then into major cities, stuff like that. As we will see many of these Philippine islands continue to grow into many population centers, stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like this, especially this giant island, which will continue to hold various amounts of population centers. For example, this much, including this island. As you can tell, this island is heavily rainforested as well. Probably like these certain parts right here are not. The other surrounding parts of Borneo are not rainforested. Like this part up here is not rainforested. This entire Thai region down here is not rainforested. Stuff like that. But we will continue to see more population appear into these regions. Again, not much down here, but though they will continue to get a lot of wood down here for the Vietnamese jungles, stuff like that. Boom, 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 boom. So this is the Vietnamese population from all the way down from up here is how much all the countries we have their population done. But again, all of East Asia. This is mostly the region I count, or countries that I count in East Asia, as right here, and then everything up. Yes, most of those are East Asian, stuff like that. And we will finally see the Thai begin to see more population down here, especially into the rainforested part, as they will continue to gain a lot of wood from it, as they will continue to see a higher population growth, probably like times 3 population growth now, as we will even see them continue to conquer islands and continue to add it into their greater population growth, especially all the way into the Malay Peninsula, which now it's called the Thai Peninsula in this world, but I will still reference it as a Malay Peninsula for easier understanding, especially these islands right here, which are going to continue to grow. For example, this much, as this island right here is extremely populous on the west side, though the east side is a little bit more iffy on that. Though they will still have a bunch of population, as especially this island right here, which will have very sparse out population, as it is heavily forested, like the island of Borneo, stuff like that. We'll see this island gain a major city. Several major cities will appear into the Borneo island, and more islands will continue to gain more population, stuff like that. And again, more population will appear onto Sakhalin, I believe, If this is what this island is called, I don't know for sure, but we will see the Thai continue to grow in population, though their new gained areas all the way over here will not have much population to continue to grow with. As we will see, the New Zealanders also gain a little bit of population, but not too much. Again, very far away from their mainland, so it will not have much population, including Tasmania down here. Though the French, they're more focused on colonial holds and gathering a bunch of resources all the way over here. Though they will have several major cities in here, mostly from Thai ethnicity, stuff like that. This is the Australian region of the French, the East Aussie, the East French Indies, stuff like that. As we will continue to see the growth of Papua all the way over here in the Timor region right here. Though we will not see many islands, as again, these are mostly forested regions. As this is what they look like now, right here, here, even all the way up here. Boom, boom, boom. And this is when they reach Australia, the Devil's Hole, Devil's Island, stuff like that, which will still have a bunch of population regions, just not as much as the other islands do. Papua is another island, though a lot more people are willing to visit it, as it is not as hellish on Earth as Australia is. Yeah, Australia is a very different situation for the Thai, as they like more commerce areas, though they will continue to inhabit these regions all the way down here, which will lead to several other regions of the Australian continent, or the Oceanian subcontinent. These regions right here will continue to get population, and we will see even the more hellish regions of Australia gain a little bit more population. For example, these two major cities will continue to invite even more, which will look like this, as this is what Thailand looks like. Even the French colonial regions right here will gain a little bit of population, mostly from the Thais. Is now if we go ahead and go into Bangladesh, we will see even more population up here, though some of the population from previous areas, especially from the gray teal-ish East India team will continue to grow, as they've taken away a bunch of population from the Bangladeshian team. Bangladeshans, stuff like that. As we will continue to see even more population grow through Bangladesh, as this is what their population is now at. And we will begin to see even more population into the Indian region and the Tibetan region, as most of their population from Tibet is coming from the original other countries' land areas all the way over here, as the Himalayas are hindering a bunch of these regions and the Tibetan plateau, the Himalayan plateau, all the way over here. As we will continue to see even more population appear through many regions. As we will see the East Indian team right here continue to grow in population, mostly in the southern region, as it is extremely rainforested and they love the wet regions, swampland, stuff like that, kind of like the Floridians. Yeah. As they will look like this now. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. As you can tell, the East Indian team is growing extremely populous. The Sri Lankans, they're not as popular. though they are pretty strong for how small they are, as they take up a bunch of resources from the Yemenis right here, the French right here, the Thais, the East Indians, the Bangladesh, the Ethiopians, the Saudi Arabians, and even the Iranians. All these lines are from support from other countries, as we will even see, surprisingly, this Bosnian team all the way over here will even support them, which is a little surprising to them, though they will continue to accept these forces to keep their sovereignty alive, as they don't want taxes from the green team right here, which will have a significant amount of population over here compared to the pink Sri Lankan team, as we will continue to see their population grow all the way down here. Boom, boom, boom. Which will lead all the way up here, be extremely populous as well, as the middle part in between is not as popular as the other regions. But this populous region of India will continue to grow all the way into the red team, all the way into the deserted areas of Iran, all the way up here, which is where it mostly stops at. Though it will even go a little bit inland, as they want to continue their population growth, as now the red Indian team, or West India, will force their people to travel out a little bit more, though not a lot will do. The ones that do go out, they get paid for it, which doesn't really help out the West Indian economy. So this is the West Indian team, as now we just need to get Central Asia figured out, which includes not Russia, or maybe like this region of Russia, but Iran and Caucasia. Actually, then that would include Russia. But these two Kazakhstan countries right here. Update a little bit more of this purple team right here. Take a little bit away. There. Boom. 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 There we go. And, you can already tell how populous the world is, as these people like to get their groove on. They like to rough it up a little, to say. But they like to do a lot of things with their people. They want to continue their growth, and they will continue to do so, as more of these regions down here will continue to grow in population, stuff like that, especially in previous Greek areas, as now we're actually going to remove a little bit of population centers, especially these southern areas and this Cyprus city right there, even this major city, as we will even see more population centers continue to move into Iran, the Central Asian part, which not as popular, or not as populous compared to the other regions of the world, especially the colonial, which is very surprising, as the entire severance of these regions over here will continue to grow like so. As you can kind of see where most population is ending up, but we will see a major population center appear around this major lake of the Iranian Sea. I don't know what it's called in real life, though we will continue to see population grow, especially into the beige team right here, as their population will grow even more, especially with new acquired lands. Boom, 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 boom. We will see a bunch of population appear all the way over here. which rivals the rest of the population centers of the Kazakhstan nation right here. We'll even see a bunch of population move a little bit north, but not all the way, as it is way too cold for them. As now this is basically what they look like, and will continue to grow into the following decades. Now we will move on to the previous Greek puppet state, which from previous Greek was actually the one improving their country population, as they actually cared about this area, as it was even more sustainable compared to the Sudanese area all the way down here, which we'll slowly get into. Iran, we could probably see a little bit more population appear into the new southern region down over here, though it is kind of unlikely, but we will continue to fill it up. Even a little bit more into the Persian Gulf area right here, which will continue to do so. Boom. Like so, and you can kind of see the line of the Persian population go all the way up through right here into the Caspian Sea. That's what it's called. As you can kind of see the line right, kind of forming right here, which will continue to grow as it probably even expanded all the way into the Indian subcontinent, all the way down over here, as this is probably how it expanded. And we will move on to Saudi Arabia, as their population centers is a full desert. You probably won't see as much, though it will mostly be along the coastal regions of these areas, and even along the border of Persia over here, and even along this green country and the Egyptian country right here, which will continue to grow around these regions, which will now look like this, as there's not going to be much population centers in the middle of the desert, though there will be still some. Now the Yemenis team, again, still in the desert over here, though more population will be more prominent, as we'll even see a few more population centers appear right up here among the deserted areas up here, which we will remove a little bit more. That way it makes more sense. We will continue this. Yeah, we will continue this probably a little bit in an hour at most, probably. But y'all will see this a little bit later, as I gotta go for dinner. But this is what we have population areas continue to grow.